All right, we're going to start by learning about the line and shape tools in Google Drawing. So right now I'm just in a brand new document. It's still clicked on the arrow right here. So when I move around, that's what I see, an arrow. I'm going to start with the line tool. So right next to the arrow is line. If you hit this drop down triangle here, you can see the different kind of lines that you can choose from. So I'm going to show you a couple of these today. So let's see, I'm going to start with the arrow line. So you can see now my cursor does not look like an arrow anymore. It's this plus sign. So what I can do is click down with it and then drag where I want my arrow to be, and then I can lift it up. Now this is that arrow line. It's kind of hard to see the arrow. So now after I've drawn it, I have a few choices of how I can change it. So these are the choices over here. So this first one is line color. What color do you want your line and your arrow to be? If I click this, it's automatically set at black, but I can change that. Maybe I want it to be red. Next to the color is the line weight. This is talking about how thick your line is. So I'm going to click that because right now it's on a very low setting, so my line is very, very thin. If I jump up and make it 12, you can see how much thicker that line is now in my arrow. I think I like 12. The next one is a dash. If you want it to be a dashed line or a broken line, it's automatically on this solid line right here. But if I wanted to switch and make a dotted line, it would look like that. Some of the other dash patterns, I think I'm going to keep the solid. Oops, or the, oh, I clicked the wrong one. I'm going to click this, keep the solid line though. All right, the next one's talking more about the arrow. Do you want there to be an arrow on the other side of the line too? You can add that. Or do you want it to be a circle, any other shape? I'm going to keep it as nothing. Same thing with this side. I'm going to keep it as the arrow though. So there's the line arrow feature. Now let's go back over to our line and try a different kind. What about the, let's see, what would be a good one? The polyline. This is a way to make polygons. What I'm doing is clicking down once, and then I lift it up by hand. But when I move my arrow, you can see it's asking, hey, where do you want the next point to be? So I'm going to click another point, move it over, click another point. So what I'm doing right now is making, or kind of drawing my own shape. So I'm bringing it over, clicking, click. And then when you come back to where you started, I just do a double click, and here is my new shape. I'm going to click on the arrow so that I can move my shape around. So you can still see my other arrow. All right, now I can change the colors and the thickness of the line, all that again. You'll see there's a new icon right here. It looks like a paint bucket spilling. That's how to choose the color in the middle of my shapes. Maybe I want this to be an orange shape. Maybe for the outline, maybe I don't want an outline, so I hit transparent, which means clear. And then if I had a border, I could decide how thick it was again. All right, I'll put that one over there. All right, let's try one more line here in that drop-down arrow. What about the scribble? The scribble lets you have a little bit more control over where you're drawing. So I'm going to click and hold it down. I have to be holding it down this whole time, but I can have my line do anything I want this way. When I'm done, I just lift up, and there's my line. Again, I can choose. Maybe I want this to be a purple line. I want it to be a little bit thicker. Oh, very thick. And then maybe this will be a, that's confusing. I'll keep it like this. Whenever you want to move your shapes or lines around, you have to come back up here and hit that arrow. It lets you drag them or click other shapes and drag them. Now, what if I wanted this arrow to be on the very top? Right now, since I made it first, it goes behind my other shapes and lines. If I want it to be on top, though, what I'm going to do when I'm in the arrow feature, I'm going to right-click. Wasn't a right click. Right-click on my shape or line, and then there is a thing here that says order. If I want it to be in the very front, I'm going to put bring to front. Now when I drag it down, it can be on top of my other shapes and lines. All right, there's other line features here, but I'm going to let you play around with those at home to learn them. The last thing I wanted to show you was the shapes. So next to lines, I've got select shapes. There's different categories. So here's just some of the basic shapes. I always like the smiley face there. There's different arrows you can use. Call outs, these are called, almost look like little speech bubbles or explosion shapes, and then some equation symbols. All of them work the same way. I'm just going to go in, I'll do the heart. So I'm just hovering over shapes, finding the one I want the heart, clicking that. And then my arrow should have changed that plus sign. Wherever I want my heart to be, I'm going to click down. And while I'm still holding down, I'm pulling it over to make it the size that I want. When I like the size, I'm going to let go. There's my heart. I can move it over, and I'm going to change the color just like I did for the polygon tool earlier. So maybe I want this teal. Maybe for a border, I'll do a dark blue, give it a thicker border. And then maybe I want my heart to go behind that purple squiggle. So I'm going to right click on my heart, order. Now I would hit send backwards or send to back, depending on how far back you want it. I just wanted it 2 steps back. So there it is. All right, you can play around with the other shapes here, but they will work pretty much the same way as that heart just did.